My name's Jake. I'm just a regular guy, 28 years old, trying to make a living in rural Idaho. I've always loved music and late-night radio, so when I saw an ad for a night shift DJ at a small station called KZRV, I jumped at the chance. The pay was decent, $25 an hour, and I figured it'd be a chill gig. Play some songs, read some ads, maybe chat with a few night owls. Easy, right? That's what I thought, until I showed up for my first shift. The station's out in the middle of nowhere, about 20 miles from the nearest town, surrounded by thick pine forests and rolling hills. It's the kind of place where you lose cell service 5 miles out, and the only sounds are crickets and the wind. The building itself looks like it's been there since the 70s, squat, made of faded brick, with a rusty antenna tower looming over it like a skeleton. The sign out front, KZRV 98.7 FM, is missing a few letters, so it just reads KRV 98.7. Not exactly inviting, but I was broke and needed the job. I pulled into the gravel lot around 10 p.m., my old pickup kicking up dust under the dim glow of a single streetlight. The air was cool, that crisp Idaho fall kind of cool, and I could smell pine and something else, maybe damp earth. I grabbed my backpack, stuffed with a water bottle, some snacks, and my headphones, and headed to the front door. It was heavy, metal, with a small, scratched-up window that made it hard to see inside. I knocked, and after a long pause, the door creaked open. The station manager, a guy named Carl, greeted me. He was older, maybe in his 60s, with gray hair pulled into a loose ponytail and a face like weathered leather. His eyes were sharp, though, like he was sizing me up. "You Jake?" he asked, voice low and gravelly. I nodded, and he waved me inside without much of a smile. The lobby was small, with peeling wallpaper and a flickering fluorescent light. It smelled like old coffee and dust. Carl didn't waste time with small talk. He led me down a narrow hallway, past a couple of locked doors, to the main studio. The studio wasn't much to look at. A desk with a microphone, a computer that looked older than me, a mixing board with half the labels worn off, and a couple of speakers mounted on the walls. There was a window looking into another studio, Studio B, I'd learn later, with a red light glowing inside, even though it was empty. The whole place felt stuck in time, like it hadn't been updated since disco was big. Carl ran through the basics, how to queue up songs, read the ad scripts, and handle the occasional call-in. "Keep it simple," he said. "Play the playlist, stick to the schedule, and don't mess with anything you don't understand." Then he handed me a piece of paper. It was typed, but the ink was smudged, like it had been printed 100 times. "These are the rules," he said, his voice dropping even lower. "Follow them. Always." I took the paper, expecting some standard employee handbook stuff. Don't smoke in the building, no personal calls, that kind of thing. But when I glanced at it, my stomach did a little flip. The rules were weird. I'm talking really weird. The list was short, maybe 10 lines, but each one was stranger than the last. Stuff like, never acknowledge the knocking at 3:33 a.m. Keep the red light on in Studio B, even if it's empty. If the broadcast cuts to static for exactly 13 seconds, play track 7 immediately. And at the bottom, in bold, underlined twice. Breaking these rules invites it inside. I read it twice, waiting for Carl to laugh, to say it was a joke for the new guy, but just stared at me, his eyes like two black marbles. "You got that?" he asked. I nodded, even though I didn't get it at all. I mean, what was it? And why? 3:33 a.m. I figured it was some hazing thing, something to spook the new guy. Small towns love their quirks, right? Carl didn't stick around to explain. He showed me how to lock up, handed me a key, and said, "You're on your own. Don't call me unless it's an emergency. Then he was gone, his truck's taillights fading into the dark. I stood there in the studio, the hum of the equipment filling the silence, and looked at the rule list again. It was creepy, sure, but I told myself it was just a prank. I tucked the paper into my pocket and tried to focus on the job. I had a playlist to get through, ads to read, and a long night ahead. I set up my stuff, plugged in my headphones, and checked the schedule. The playlist was mostly classic rock and country, stuff you'd expect in rural Idaho. I queued up the first song, a Lynyrd Skynyrd track, and leaned back in the Cree Bodem chair. The station felt alive in a way, with the low buzz of the electronics and the faint glow of the monitors, but it also felt off, like the air was too heavy, or the shadows were too dark. I shook it off and hit the mic. This is Jake, your new late-night voice on KZRV 98.7 FM, bringing you the best tunes to keep you company. Let's kick things off with some Skynyrd. My voice sounded steady, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me through that window into Studio B. The first hour went fine. I played the songs, read an ad for a local feed store, and sipped my water. But every now and then, I'd glance at the rule list on the desk. I'd laugh to myself, thinking about how ridiculous it was. Knocking at 3:33 a.m., track 7? Come on. I grew up in a small town. I know people love their ghost stories, but as the clock ticked closer to midnight, the station started to feel different. The hum of the equipment seemed louder, the shadows sharper. I told myself it was just my imagination, just the late hour messing with me. I'd been up since 6 a.m. after all. Then I heard it, a faint creak, like someone stepping on a loose floorboard. I froze, my hand hovering over the mixing board. The sound came from the hallway, the one leading to the back door. I waited, holding my breath, but it didn't happen again. Just the wind, I told myself. Old buildings creak. But I couldn't help glancing at the rule list again, my eyes landing on that first one. Never acknowledge the knocking at 3:33 a.m. It was only 11:45, but my heart was already pounding. I turned up the music, trying to drown out my nerves. I told myself I was being stupid. This was just a job, just a radio station in the middle of nowhere, nothing to worry about. But as I sat there, the red light in Studio B seemed to glow a little brighter, and the air felt colder. I didn't know it then, but that first night was just the beginning. Those rules weren't a prank. They were a warning, and something was already watching me, waiting for me to mess up. All right, so there I was, sitting in the KZRV studio, my first night on the job, trying to act like everything was normal. The Lynyrd Skynyrd song faded out, and I leaned into the mic to read an ad for a local tire shop. My voice was steady, but my eyes kept darting to that piece of paper Carl, the station manager, had given me. That list of rules. I'd tucked it under a coffee-stained notebook on the desk, but I could still see it in my head. Those weird instructions typed in smudged ink. I told myself it was just a dumb prank, something to mess with the new guy, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. The rules were too specific, too creepy, to just be a joke. I grabbed the paper again, figuring I'd read it properly, maybe even laugh it off. The studio was quiet except for the low hum of the equipment and the faint crackle of the speakers. The clock on the wall said 12:15 a.m. Still a ways to go before that 3:33 a.m. knocking rule, if it was even real. I unfolded the paper and started reading, my voice barely above a whisper, like I was afraid someone or something might hear me. The first rule was the one that stuck out the most. Never acknowledge the knocking at 3:33 a.m. It didn't say what would happen if I did, but the way it was worded made my skin crawl, like just answering a knock could be a mistake I'd regret. The second rule was about Studio B. Keep the red light on in Studio B, even if it's empty. I glanced through the glass window separating the main studio from Studio B. That red light was glowing, steady and bright, casting a weird hue over the empty room. It was just a light, but something about it felt wrong, like it was watching me back. The third rule was even stranger. If the broadcast cuts to static for exactly 13 seconds, play track 7 immediately. Track 7? I hadn't seen any labeled cassettes or files, just a stack of old tapes in a box under the desk. I'd have to dig through them later. The list went on with more rules, each one weirder than the last. Never answer a call after midnight unless the caller ID says home. Don't look directly at the antenna tower between 2 and 3 a.m. If you hear singing in Studio B, leave the building until sunrise. And then, at the bottom, in bold, underlined twice. Breaking these rules invites it inside. That word, it, was like a punch to the gut. What was it? A person? An animal? Something else? The paper didn't say, and I wasn't sure I wanted to know. I set the list down and rubbed my eyes. I was tired, sure, but I wasn't imagining the way my stomach twisted, reading that stuff. I tried to laugh it off, muttering to myself, "Come on, Jake, it's just a creepy note. Small-town weirdos love this stuff." But the words felt hollow. The station was too quiet, too isolated. The forest outside was pitch black, and the only light came from that flickering street lamp in the parking lot. I felt like I was in a horror movie, the kind where the dumb guy ignores all the warnings and gets eaten. I decided to focus on the job. I queued up the next song, some Johnny Cash tune, and checked the schedule. I had an ad for a local diner to read in a few minutes, and I needed to stay on track. But as I reached for the ad script, I heard that creak again. The same one from earlier, like someone stepping on a loose floorboard in the hallway. I froze, my hand halfway to the script. The sound was faint, but it was real. I waited, holding my breath, but it didn't come again. Just the hum of the station and Johnny Cash's voice filling the speakers. I told myself it was nothing. Old buildings make noises, the wind, maybe. But I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. I glanced at the rule list again, my eyes landing on that first one about the knocking. It was only 12:30 a.m., but I was already dreading 3:33. I decided to distract myself by checking out the equipment. The mixing board was ancient, with sliders that stuck and buttons that looked like they'd been pressed a million times. The computer was running some old software I didn't recognize, with a clunky interface and a playlist loaded up for the night. Everything seemed normal, but that red light in Studio B kept pulling my attention. It was so bright, almost pulsing, like it was alive. I stood up and stretched, trying to shake off the nerves. The studio was small, maybe 15 feet by 15 feet, with a worn-out carpet and walls covered in faded posters of old bands. There was a coffee machine in the corner, but it looked like it hadn't been cleaned in years. I wandered over to the window, looking into Studio B. It was just like the main studio. Same old equipment, same dusty vibe. But it felt different, colder maybe. The red light was mounted above the door, casting everything in a bloody glow. I couldn't see much, just a desk, a mic, and some shelves. But I swore I saw something move, just for a second, in the corner of the room. A shadow maybe, or my imagination. I stepped back, my heart thumping. "Get it together, Jake," I muttered. I wasn't going to let a creepy list and an old building freak me out. I went back to the desk and grabbed the ad script, reading it into the mic with as much energy as I could muster. Come on down to Betty's Diner. Open 24 hours with the best pancakes in Idaho. My voice sounded fake, even to me, but I got through it. The clock ticked to 12:45 a.m., and I started to relax a little. Maybe the rules were just a joke. Maybe Carl was sitting at home, laughing his ass off, knowing he'd spooked the new guy. But then I heard another sound. Not a creak this time. A low, rhythmic tapping, like fingers on glass. It was coming from the window to Studio B. I spun around, my eyes locking on the glass. The red light was still glowing, but I couldn't see anything in the room. Just that empty desk and the mic. The tapping stopped as soon as I looked, like whatever it was knew I was watching. My mouth went dry. I wanted to open the door to Studio B, to prove it was nothing, but Rule 2 flashed in my head. Keep the red light on in Studio B, even if it's empty. I wasn't about to mess with that. Not yet. I sat back down, my hands shaking a little. I told myself it was just the building settling, or maybe a branch hitting the window outside. But deep down, I knew better. Something about this place wasn't right. The rules weren't just a prank. They were instructions, and I had a sinking feeling I'd find out why soon enough. I glanced at the clock. 1 a.m. Still hours to go before 3:33. I grabbed the rule list again, reading it over, trying to memorize every word. If something was coming, I wanted to be ready. But the truth was, I had no idea what I was dealing with. All I knew was that I was alone, in a creepy old radio station, with a list of rules that made no sense, and a feeling that something was waiting just out of sight. So, there I was, sitting in the KZRV studio, my first night as the night shift DJ, and I'm already on edge. That tapping on the Studio B window had me spooked, but I was trying to play it cool. The clock read 1:15 a.m., and I was still hours away from that creepy 3:33 a.m. knocking rule. The station was dead quiet, except for the hum of the old equipment and the faint crackle of the speakers. I had a Johnny Cash song fading out, and it was time to jump back on the mic. I cleared my throat, leaned in, and said, "This is Jake, keeping you company on KZRV 98.7 FM. Up next, we've got some credence for all you night owls out there." I hit play on Bad Moon Rising, which, felt a little too on the nose given how I was feeling. The music filled the studio, and I leaned back in the creaky chair, trying to shake off the nerves. The rule list was still on the desk, staring at me like it was daring me to ignore it. I kept telling myself it was just a prank, some weird small-town tradition to mess with the new guy. But that tapping, that wasn't my imagination. I glanced at the window to Studio B again. The red light was still glowing, steady and bright, casting that eerie red hue over the empty room. I couldn't see anything in there, but I wasn't about to go check. Not after that tapping. I decided to focus on the job. The playlist was loaded on the ancient computer, a mix of classic rock, country, and a few oldies. The schedule had me playing ads every 15 minutes or so, mostly for local businesses, feed stores, diners, a used car lot down the road. I grabbed the next ad script, a cheesy one for a hardware store, and read it into the mic. Need tools? Head to Johnson's Hardware. Open 6 days a week, right here in Idaho. My voice sounded okay, but I could hear the strain in it. I was trying too hard to sound normal. The studio itself was starting to get to me. It was small, cramped, with walls covered in faded posters of bands like the Eagles and Fleetwood Mac. The carpet was worn thin, and the air smelled like old coffee and dust. The equipment was ancient, a mixing board with sticky sliders, a computer that took forever to load, and a stack of cassettes under the desk that looked like they hadn't been touched in years. I kept glancing at those cassettes, wondering which one was track 7, the one I was supposed to play if the broadcast cut to static for 13 seconds. I hadn't looked yet. Part of me didn't want to. Around 1:30 a.m., I started to notice little things. The lights flickered, just for a second, like a power surge. I looked up, expecting them to go out completely, but they stayed on. Then I heard a faint hum, not from the equipment, but from the headphones I wasn't even wearing. They were sitting on the desk, unplugged, but I swore I heard something, like a whisper, too soft to make out. I picked them up, held them to my ear, but it was gone. Just my mind playing tricks, I told myself. Long hours, new job, creepy rules. Anyone would get jumpy. I decided to walk around a bit, stretch my legs. The studio felt too small, like the walls were closing in. I stepped into the hallway, which was even creepier than the studio. It was narrow, with peeling wallpaper and a single flickering bulb overhead. The air was colder out here, and I could hear the wind outside, rattling the windows. I walked past a couple of locked doors, one labeled storage, another with no label at all. I thought about checking them out, but something told me to leave them alone. I headed back to the studio, my sneakers squeaking on the linoleum floor. Back at the desk, I checked the clock. 1:45 a.m. Still a ways to go. I queued up another song, some Merle Haggard tune, and tried to relax. But that feeling of being watched was getting worse. It wasn't just the red light in Studio B, though that didn't help. It was like the whole station was alive, like it was listening to me as much as I was listening to it. I kept glancing at the rule list, my eyes stuck on that line about the knocking. What was going to happen at 3:33? Was it really just a knock? And what was it? The thing the rules said I'd invite inside if I broke them? I decided to distract myself by digging through the cassettes under the desk. There were dozens of them, all unlabeled, except for a few with faded handwriting. None of them said track 7, but one caught my eye. A plain black cassette with no label at all. I pulled it out, turned it over in my hands. It felt heavier than the others, cold to the touch. I set it aside, not sure if I should mess with it. The rule about track 7 was specific, but I didn't even know where to start looking. The computer didn't have any files labeled like that either. Around 2 a.m., I heard another sound. This one wasn't a creak or a tap. It was a low, rhythmic thump, like something heavy moving in the distance. It was coming from outside, maybe near the antenna tower. I remembered the rule about not looking at the tower between 2 and 3 a.m. My heart started pounding, and I kept my eyes on the desk, away from the window. The thumping stopped after a minute, but it left me rattled. I grabbed my water bottle and took a long drink, trying to calm down. "You're fine, Jake," I muttered. "Just a weird night." The next hour dragged on. I played more songs, read more ads, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The lights flickered again, longer this time. The hum in the headphones came back, louder, like someone whispering just out of earshot. I put them on, but it stopped. I checked the mixing board. Everything was normal, no signal issues, but I couldn't ignore the way the air felt heavier, like a storm was coming, even though the sky outside was clear. By 2:30 a.m., I was counting down the minutes to 3:33. I didn't know what to expect, but I was ready to follow the rules. No acknowledging the knocking, no messing with the red light, no answering weird calls. I just had to get through the night. I looked at the rule list one more time, memorizing every word. I didn't know what was coming, but I knew one thing for sure. This wasn't just a job. This station, these rules, they were hiding something, and I had a bad feeling I was about to find out what. It's about 3 a.m. now, and I'm sitting in the KZRV studio, my first night on the job, trying to keep my cool. The station's quiet, except for the low hum of the equipment and the occasional crackle from the speakers. I just finished playing a Willie Nelson song, and I'm flipping through the ad script for a local mechanic shop, trying to stay focused. But my eyes keep darting to the clock on the wall. It's ticking closer to 3:33 a.m., and that first rule is burning a hole in my brain. Never acknowledge the knocking at 3:33 a.m. I don't know what's coming, but my heart's already racing, and the air in the studio feels thick, like it's pressing down on me. I've been on edge all night. The flickering lights, the whispers in the unplugged headphones, that weird thumping outside near the antenna tower. It's all got me jumpy. The rule list is sitting on the desk, right next to that black cassette I found earlier, the one that felt too heavy, too cold. I still haven't found track 7, and I'm hoping I don't need to. I glance at the window to Studio B, where that red light's still glowing, steady and creepy. The room's empty, but it doesn't feel empty. I swear something's in there, just out of sight. I lean into the mic, trying to sound normal. This is Jake, your late-night DJ on KZRV 98.7 FM, bringing you the best tunes in Idaho. Stick around for some Eagles coming up next. I hit play on Hotel California. Yeah, real fitting. And lean back in the chair. The music fills the studio, but it doesn't help the knot in my stomach. I keep checking the clock. 3:05 a.m., 28 minutes to go. I tell myself it's nothing, just a dumb rule. But I can't shake the feeling that something's coming. I grab my water bottle and take a sip, but my hands are shaky. The studio's small, cramped, with those faded band posters on the walls and that gross carpet under my feet. The air smells like dust and old electronics, and it's colder than it should be for a fall night. I pull my hoodie tighter and try to focus on the job. I've got an ad to read in a few minutes, and I need to stay on schedule. But every little sound makes me jump. A creak in the hallway, a faint rustle outside the window. I'm starting to think this place is alive, like it's watching me, waiting for me to screw up. By 3:20 a.m., I'm pacing the studio, too wired to sit still. The Eagles song fades out, and I cue up another track, some old Lynyrd Skynyrd. I'm about to read the ad when I hear it. A low, deliberate knock. It's coming from the back door down the hallway. I freeze, my hand hovering over the mic. The clock says 3:22 a.m. It's too early for the knocking rule, right? I hold my breath, waiting. But the knock doesn't come again. Maybe it was just the wind, or a branch hitting the door. But it didn't sound like a branch. It sounded intentional. I sit back down, my heart pounding so hard I can feel it in my throat. I tell myself to chill out. It's just a noise. Old buildings make noises. But I grab the rule list anyway, reading it over again like it's going to protect me. Never acknowledge the knocking at 3:33 a.m. Okay, so maybe that wasn't it. Maybe it was something else. But I'm not going to check. No way. I stay glued to the chair, staring at the clock. 3:25 a.m. 8 minutes to go. The next few minutes drag on forever. I read the ad for the mechanic shop, my voice shaky but passable. Got car trouble? Head to Dave's Auto. Open Monday through Saturday. Oh. I cut to another song, trying to drown out my nerves. But the whole time, I'm watching that clock. 3:30 a.m. 3 minutes left. My mouth's dry, and my hands are clammy. I keep glancing at the hallway, expecting to hear that knock again. The red light in Studio B seems brighter now, almost pulsing, like it's counting down with me. Then it happens. At exactly 3:33 a.m., a loud, sharp knock echoes from the back door. It's not a tap or a creak. It's a full-on, deliberate bang, bang, bang. My whole body goes cold, like someone dumped ice water down my back. I stare at the hallway, my heart hammering. The rule flashes in my head. Never acknowledge the knocking. I don't move, don't breathe, don't say a word. The knocking comes again, louder this time, like someone's slamming their fist against the door. Bang, bang, bang. It's slow, rhythmic, like it's daring me to answer. I grip the edge of the desk, my knuckles white. I want to yell, to tell whoever it is to go away, but the rule stops me. I just sit there, frozen, listening. The knocking goes on for what feels like forever. Maybe a minute, maybe two. Each bang makes my chest tighter, like the air's being squeezed out of me. Then just when I think I can't take it anymore, I hear something worse. A voice. It's faint, muffled through the door, but it's there. And it's saying my name. Jake. It whispers, low and raspy, like it's coming from someone who hasn't spoken in years. Jake, open the door. My blood turns to ice. I don't move. I don't answer. I just stare at the hallway, my eyes locked on the shadows. The voice comes again, louder this time. Jake, I know you're there. It's not angry, not threatening. It's calm, almost pleading, which makes it worse. I want to run, to bolt out the front door and never come back. But I'm too scared to move. What if it is out there? What if breaking the rule makes it worse? The knocking stops as suddenly as it started. The voice goes quiet. The silence is worse, somehow. It's heavy, like the whole station is holding its breath. I check the clock. 3:35 a.m. It's over. I let out a shaky breath, my hands trembling so bad I can barely hold my water bottle. I don't know what just happened, but I know one thing. Those rules aren't a joke. Something was at that door, and it knew my name. I sit there for a long time, just staring at the desk, too scared to move. The song on the radio ends, and I realize I've missed my cue for the next one. I fumble with the controls, my fingers clumsy, and cue up another track. My voice is shot, but I force myself to talk. This is Jake, back with you on KZRV 98.7 FM. Here's some Tom Petty to keep you going. I sound like crap, but I don't care. I just need to keep the broadcast going, keep things normal. But nothing feels normal anymore. The red light in Studio B is still glowing, and I swear it's brighter than before. The air's colder too, and I can't shake the feeling that something's still here, just out of sight. I look at the rule list again, my eyes scanning the next one. Keep the red light on in Studio B, even if it's empty. I'm not touching that light. No way. But I can't help wondering what's in there, what that rule's protecting me from, or what it's keeping inside. I've got hours left in my shift, and I'm already dreading the rest of the night. That knocking was real, and so was that voice. Whatever's out there, it's not human, and it knows my name. Okay, so it's about 3:45 a.m., and I'm still in the KZRV studio, trying to hold it together after that freaky knocking at 3:33. My heart's still racing from hearing my name whispered through the back door. I'm sitting at the desk, gripping the edge like it's the only thing keeping me grounded. The station's dead quiet, except for the hum of the equipment and the faint crackle of the speakers. I've got a Tom Petty song playing, but it's not helping. That rule list is staring at me from the desk, and I can't stop thinking about the second rule. Keep the red light on in Studio B, even if it's empty. That red light's been creeping me out all night, glowing way too bright, like it's got a life of its own. I glance at the window into Studio B. The light's still on, casting this eerie red glow over the empty room. It's just a desk, a mic, and some dusty shelves in there. But it feels wrong, like something's hiding in the shadows, watching me. I'm trying to focus on the job. Play the music, read the ads, keep the broadcast going, but my hands are shaking and I can barely think straight. The knocking's over, but I'm not feeling safe. Not even close. I grab the rule list again, reading it for the 100th time. The paper's smudged, but the words are clear. Keep the red light on in Studio B, even if it's empty. Then there's that one about track 7, and the one about not answering calls unless the caller ID says home, and that warning at the bottom. Breaking these rules invites it inside. I still don't know what it is, but after that voice at the door, I'm not taking any chances. I shove the list under a notebook, like hiding it will make it less real. I lean into the mic to read an ad, trying to sound normal. Head to Miller's Feed for all your livestock needs. Open weekdays till 6. My voice is shaky, barely holding together, but I get through it. I cue up a Fleetwood Mac song and lean back, rubbing my eyes. I'm exhausted. Been up almost 24 hours, but there's no way I'm relaxing, not with that red light glowing through the window, pulling my eyes like a magnet. I decide I need to take a closer look at Studio B. Not go in, just check it out from the window. Maybe it's just the light messing with my head. I stand up, my legs feeling like jelly, and walk to the glass. It's cold to the touch, even though the studio's stuffy. I press my face close, squinting into the red glow. The room looks empty, just like before. Desk, mic, shelves. But then I notice something. The mic in there? It's not plugged in. The cable's just sitting on the desk, coiled up, not connected to anything. But I swear I hear a hum coming from it, like it's picking up a signal. A low, steady buzz, like someone breathing into it. I step back, my heart pounding. That's not possible. Unplugged mics don't hum. I rub my eyes, telling myself I'm just tired, imagining things. But then I see it. A flicker in the corner of Studio B, like a shadow moving, quick and gone. I blink and it's not there anymore. Just the empty room and that red light, glowing brighter than ever. It's almost pulsing now, slow and steady, like a heartbeat. I want to open the door, see what's going on, but that rule's screaming in my head. Keep the red light on. I'm not touching that light, no way. I stumble back to the desk, my hands shaking so bad I can barely hold my water bottle. I sit down, trying to breathe, but the air feels heavy, colder than it should be. I tell myself it's just the old building, maybe a draft, but I know better. Something's not right. I glance at the clock. 4 a.m. Still hours to go in this shift. I cue up another song, some CCR, and try to focus. This is Jake, keeping you company on KZRV 98.7 FM, I say into the mic, but my voice sounds like it belongs to someone else, all thin and nervous. Then I hear it again. That hum, louder now, definitely coming from Studio B. I look at the window, and the mic's still unplugged, but the sound's clear, like someone's whispering just out of earshot. My stomach twists. I want to ignore it, but I can't. I get up again, drawn to the window like an idiot in a horror movie. I press my face to the glass, squinting into the red light. The room's empty, but that shadow's back, flickering in the corner. It's not a trick of the light. It moves, slow and deliberate, like it's watching me. I blink, and it's gone again. Nothing there. Just the desk, the mic, and that damn red light. My heart's hammering now. I back away, tripping over the chair. Get it together, Jake, I mutter, but I'm freaking out. I sit down hard and grab the rule list again. That red light rule's got me paranoid. Is it keeping something out or keeping something in? I don't know, but I'm not turning it off. I look at the black cassette on the desk, the one I found earlier. It's still there, cold to the touch, no label. I'm starting to think it's track 7, but I'm too scared to check. The clock says 4:15 a.m. The station's colder now, like someone opened a window, but I know they're all locked. I checked. I pull my hoodie tighter and try to focus on the playlist, but that hum's still there, low and steady, like it's taunting me. I glance at the window again, and the red light's brighter. I swear it is. It's like it's alive, pulsing in time with my heartbeat. I'm starting to think this place isn't just a radio station. It's something else, something wrong. I force myself to read another ad, my voice barely holding up. Visit Dave's Auto for all your car repair needs. It's a struggle to get the words out. The hum's getting louder, and I can't tell if it's in my head or coming from Studio B. I'm not going in there no matter what, but I can't shake the feeling that something's in that room, something tied to that red light, and it's watching me, waiting for me to slip up. The clock's ticking toward 4:30 a.m. This night's nowhere near over, and I'm already dreading what's next. It's around 4:30 a.m. now, and I'm still stuck in this creepy KZRV studio, my first night as the night shift DJ. My nerves are shot. That humming from Studio B, the shadow I keep seeing, and that damn red light glowing like it's alive. It's all got me on edge. I'm sitting at the desk, trying to focus on the playlist, but my hands won't stop shaking. The rule list is right there, smudged and ominous, and I keep glancing at it like it's gonna tell me how to survive this night. That knocking at 3:33 a.m. already freaked me out, and now I'm jumping at every little sound. The station feels like it's closing in on me, like the walls are watching. I just finished playing a CCR song, and I'm supposed to read an ad for a local diner, but my throat's so dry I can barely talk. I take a sip of water, my eyes darting to the window into Studio B. That red light's still glowing, steady and too bright, like it's daring me to mess with it. I'm not touching it, no way. Rule 2 says to keep it on, and after that voice whispering my name at the back door, I'm following every rule to the letter. I lean into the mic, forcing my voice to stay steady. This is Jake, your late night DJ on KZRV 98.7 FM. Head to Betty's Diner for the best burgers in Idaho. Open 24 hours. I sound like I'm about to lose it, but I get through the ad and cue up another song, some old Allman Brothers track. The music fills the studio, but it doesn't help. The air's heavy, cold, and the hum from Studio B's still there. Faint but steady, like a heartbeat in the walls. I'm trying to keep it together when it happens. The broadcast cuts out. 1 second. The Allman Brothers are playing, and the next warden, it's just static. Harsh, crackling static that makes my ears hurt. I freeze, staring at the mixing board. The rule list flashes in my head. If the broadcast cuts to static for exactly 13 seconds, play track 7 immediately. My heart stops. I grab my phone and start a timer, counting the seconds. 1, 2, 3. The static keeps going, loud and grating like it's alive. I'm at 10 seconds and my hands are fumbling for that black cassette I found earlier, the one with no label that felt too heavy, too cold. 11, 12, 13. The static stops at exactly 13 seconds, and the silence is deafening. I don't think, I just act. I grab the cassette, jam it into the old tape deck under the desk, and hit play. The machine clicks, and this weird, distorted sound comes out. It's not music, not exactly. It's like a choir, but off, all warped and slow, with voices that don't sound human. The notes are long and droning, like something you'd hear in a nightmare. My skin crawls, but the broadcast kicks back in, and the Allman Brothers pick up where they left off, like nothing happened. I stop the cassette, my hands shaking so bad I almost drop it. I sit there, staring at the tape deck, my heart pounding. What the hell was that? The rule said to play track 7 if the static lasted 13 seconds, and it worked. But why? What was that sound? It didn't feel like a fix. It felt like a ritual, like I was calling something. I look at the cassette in my hand, turning it over. No label, no markings, just that cold, heavy plastic. I set it down like it's gonna bite me and lean back in the chair, trying to breathe. The clock says 4:45 a.m. I've still got hours to go in this shift, and I'm already a wreck. The studio's colder now, the air thick with that dusty electric smell. The red light in Studio B is glowing brighter than ever, casting shadows that seem to move when I'm not looking. I keep telling myself it's just my imagination, just the late hour messing with me. But I know better. This place isn't right. Those rules aren't a prank. They're keeping something at bay. Or maybe they're letting it in. I glance at the rule list again, my eyes landing on the next one. Never answer a call after midnight unless the caller ID says home. I haven't gotten any calls yet, but the idea of one coming in makes my stomach twist. I can still hear that voice from the back door saying my name, and I don't want to know what's on the other end of a phone line. I rub my face, trying to stay awake, but my eyes are heavy, and every sound makes me jump. The hum from Studio B's back, louder now, like it's reacting to the cassette. I don't look at the window. I can't handle seeing that shadow again. I force myself to focus on the job. I cue up another song, some Johnny Cash, and check the schedule. Another ad's coming up, but my mind's on that cassette. What was track 7? Why did it fix the static? And why did it feel so wrong, like I was opening a door I shouldn't have? I'm starting to think this station isn't just old and creepy. It's something else, something alive. The rules, the light, the cassette, they're all part of it, and I'm caught in the middle. Around 5 a.m., the lights flicker again, longer this time, like the power's about to go out. I hold my breath, waiting for the darkness, but they stay on. The hum from Studio B gets louder, and I swear I hear a whisper in it now, too faint to make out. I grab my water bottle, but my hands are so shaky I spill it on the desk. "Come on, Jake," I mutter, wiping it up with my sleeve. "Get it together." But I'm not together. I'm scared out of my mind, and the night's not over. I look at the clock. 5:15 a.m. The sun won't be up for a while, and I'm stuck here, alone with whatever's in this station. The red light's still glowing, the cassette's sitting there like a bomb, and the rule list feels heavier every time I read it. I don't know what's going on, but I know one thing. That static wasn't a glitch. That cassette wasn't just a fix. And whatever I let in by playing it, it's still here, watching me. It's about 5:30 a.m. now, and I'm still in the KZRV studio, barely holding it together. That static cutting the broadcast and the creepy track 7 cassette I played, it's got me rattled. My hands are still shaking from jamming that tape into the deck, and the weird droning choir sound is stuck in my head, like it's burrowed into my brain. The station's colder than ever, the air heavy with that dusty electric smell, and the red light in Studio B is glowing so bright, it's practically screaming at me. I'm sitting at V, system. "I'm sorry, it looks like your message got cut off. You asked for chapter 7 of the creepypasta story, and I've provided it below. Continuing the story in the same first-person narration style, in simple American English, optimized for AI voiceover, and ensuring it's over 800 words. I'm assuming you meant to continue the story as before, so I've kept the same synecdoche and tone consistent. Let me know if you need anything tweaked, or if there's anything else I should adjust." Okay. So it's pushing 5:45 a.m., And I'm sitting in the KZRV studio, my first night on the job, trying to keep my head on straight after everything that's gone down. That 13-second static scare and playing that creepy track 7 cassette left me shaking, and the red light in Studio B is still glowing like it's got a mind of its own. The rule list is sitting on the desk, and I can't stop thinking about that line. Never answer a call after midnight unless the caller ID says home. I haven't had any calls yet, but the thought of one coming in makes my stomach churn, especially after that voice whispering my name through the back door. I'm trying to focus on the playlist, queuing up some old Eagles song, but my hands are unsteady, and my heart's still pounding from earlier. The station's too quiet, too empty, and every little sound, every creak, every hum, feels like it's got eyes on me. I'm gripping the edge of the desk, trying to breathe slow, when the phone rings. The sound cuts through the silence like a knife, and I jump so hard I nearly knock over my water bottle. The phone's an old rotary thing, heavy and black, sitting on a side table next to the mixing board. Its red light flashes with every ring, and I stare at it, frozen. The clock says 5:50 a.m. That rule about not answering calls after midnight, unless the caller ID says home, is screaming in my head. I check the little screen on the phone. The caller ID just says unknown. My gut twists. I let it ring, counting the seconds, my hands sweating. The ringing stops after 6 long, shrill rings, and the silence feels heavier than before. I sit back down, my legs shaky, and try to focus on the computer screen. The Eagles song's still playing, and I'm supposed to read an ad soon. I grab the script, some ad for a local car wash, but my voice is shot. I take a sip of water, trying to calm down, but my hands won't stop trembling. I keep glancing at the phone, waiting for it to ring again. The red light in Studio B seems to pulse, like it's mocking me, and I can still hear that faint hum from the unplugged mic in there. I'm starting to think this place is cursed, like the rules are keeping something at bay, or maybe letting it in. A minute later, the phone rings again. Same deal, caller ID says unknown. My heart's hammering now. I remember the rule, and I don't pick up. The ringing's louder this time, more insistent, like it's pissed I ignored it before. I count the rings, 7 this time, and then it stops. But I'm not relieved. I feel like something's watching me, waiting for me to screw up. I check the clock. 6 a.m. Still a couple hours till sunrise, and I'm stuck here, alone, with that rule list and whatever's out there. Then the phone rings a third time. I stare at it, my mouth dry as hell. The caller ID still says unknown. The ringing's like a drill in my skull, each one louder than the last. I want to pick it up, yell at whoever's messing with me, but the rules got me paralyzed. I just sit there, staring at the phone, my heart pounding so hard I can feel it in my throat. Then I hear it. A voice, raspy and low, coming through the phone's speaker even though I didn't answer. "Jake," it says, slow and deliberate, like it's savoring my name. "Did you play track 7? It's listening now." I yank the phone cord out of the wall so fast I nearly rip it in half. The voice cuts off, but my hands are shaking so bad I drop the receiver. It clatters onto the table, loud in the quiet studio. I'm breathing hard, my eyes locked on the phone, waiting for it to ring again, even though it's unplugged. It doesn't. The silence is worse, like the whole station's holding its breath. I glance at the red light in Studio B. It's brighter, I swear, like it's feeding off whatever just happened. I stumble back to the desk, my legs like jelly, and collapse into the chair. The rule list is sitting there, and I grab it, my hands trembling as I read it again. Never answer a call after midnight, unless the caller ID says home. I followed that rule, but that voice, It knew I played track 7. It knew my name. My stomach's in knots, and I can't shake the feeling that something's in here with me. Something tied to that cassette, that red light, those rules. I check the clock. 6:15 a.m. The sun's nowhere near up yet, and I'm stuck in this creepy-ass station, alone with whatever's out there. The Eagles song ends, and I fumble with the controls, my fingers clumsy, to cue up the next track. My voice is wrecked, but I force myself to talk into the mic. This is Jake, back with you on KZRV 98.7 FM. Here's some Merle Haggard to keep you going. I sound like I'm about to lose it, but I don't care. I just need to keep the broadcast going, keep things normal. But nothing's normal. That voice on the phone wasn't human. I'm sure of it now. The red light's still glowing. The hum's still there. And I'm starting to think I'm not alone in this station. The rules are real, and I just got a taste of what happens when you mess with them. It's about 6:30 a.m. now, and I'm still stuck in the KZRV studio, my first night on this nightmare of a job. That creepy phone call, some raspy voice saying my name and talking about track 7, has me completely rattled. I unplugged the phone, but I can't shake the feeling that whatever was on the other end is still here, somewhere in this station. The air's heavy, cold, and smells like old electronics and dust. The red light in Studio B is glowing brighter than ever, like it's daring me to look at it. The rule list is sitting on the desk, and I'm clinging to it like a lifeline, even though every word on it makes my skin crawl. I'm trying to keep the broadcast going, queuing up a Johnny Cash song, but my hands are shaking so bad I can barely work the mixing board. I lean into the mic, my voice barely holding together. This is Jake, keeping you company on KZRV 98.7 FM. Up next, some classic Cash for all you night owls. I sound like I'm falling apart, but I don't care. I just need to get through this shift. The clock's ticking toward sunrise, but it's still dark outside, and the forest around the station feels like it's pressing in, watching me through the windows. I'm trying to focus on the playlist when I see it. Something in Studio B, through the glass window. It's not a shadow this time, not a flicker. It's a figure, standing right there in the middle of the room, under that red light. My heart stops. It's tall, too tall, and it's just standing there, facing me. I can't see its face, not really. The light's too bright, casting its head in shadow, but it's staring at me. I know it is. My whole body goes cold, like I've been dunked in ice water. I blink, rub my eyes, thinking it's got to be my imagination, but it's still there, motionless, like it's waiting for something. I'm frozen, my hand hovering over the mixing board, the Johnny Cash song still playing in the background. The rule list is screaming in my head, keep the red light on in Studio B, even if it's empty. But it's not empty anymore. There's something in there, and it's looking right at me. I want to run, to bolt out the front door and never come back, but my legs won't move. I'm stuck, staring at this thing through the glass. The red light pulses, slow and steady, like it's syncing with my heartbeat. The figure doesn't move, doesn't make a sound, but I feel its eyes on me, heavy and wrong. I force myself to look away, my breath coming in short gasps. I focus on the desk, the rule list, anything but that window, but I can still feel it, like a weight pressing down on me. The hum from Studio B's back, louder now, coming from that unplugged mic on the desk in there. It's not just a hum anymore. It's got a rhythm, like someone's whispering low and fast, words I can't make out. I grip the edge of the desk, my knuckles white, trying to keep it together. It's not real, Jake, I mutter, but I know that's a lie. Whatever's in there is real, and it's tied to that red light, those rules, this station. The song ends, and I fumble with the controls, my fingers clumsy. I cue up another track, some Lynyrd Skynyrd, and try to talk into the mic. This is Jake, back with you on KZRV 98.7 FM. Let's keep the tunes rolling. My voice is a wreck, all shaky and thin, but I get through it. I don't dare look at the window again, but I can feel that figure still there, watching. I glance at the clock, 6:45 a.m. The sun's got to come up soon, right? But it feels like this night's never going to end. I grab the rule list, my hands trembling, and read it again, like it's going to tell me what to do. There's nothing about a figure in Studio B, nothing about what to do if something's standing there, staring at you. The closest thing is that rule about the red light, and I'm not touching that. I look at the black cassette on the desk, the one I played when the static hit. Maybe that's what brought this thing here. Maybe playing track 7 did something, opened something. My stomach twists at the thought. I risk a quick glance at the window, just a peek. The figure's still there, hasn't moved an inch. Its head's tilted now, like it's studying me. I can't see its eyes, but I feel them, boring into me. The red light's brighter, pulsing faster, and the hum's getting louder, like a swarm of bees in my head. I look away, my heart pounding so hard, I can hear it over the music. I'm not imagining this. That thing's real, and it's not leaving. I try to focus on the job, but it's useless. The studio feels smaller, like the walls are closing in. The air's colder, heavier, and I swear I can smell something new. Something sharp, like burnt metal. I check the clock again. 7 a.m. The sky outside's still dark, no sign of dawn. I'm starting to think the sun's not coming up at all, like this station's trapped in some kind of endless night. The figure's still there. I can feel it without looking, and the hum's so loud now, it's drowning out the Skynyrd song. I grab my water bottle, but my hands are shaking so bad I spill it all over the desk. I curse under my breath, wiping it up with my sleeve. "Get it together, Jake," I say, but I'm losing it. That figure, that light, that hum, they're all tied together, and I'm caught in the middle. I look at the rule list one more time, my eyes scanning for anything that might help. There's nothing, just that warning at the bottom. Breaking these rules invites it inside. Is that what's in Studio B? Did I already let it in when I played track 7? The song ends, and I'm so out of it I miss my cue. The broadcast goes silent for a second before I scramble to cue up another track. My voice is barely a whisper as I talk into the mic. This is Jake, still here on KZRV 98.7 FM. Here's some, Allman Brothers. I sound like a ghost, but I don't care. I just need to keep going, keep the music playing, keep whatever's in Studio B from doing whatever it's gonna do. The clock says 7:15 a.m. I'm counting down the minutes till my shift ends, but I'm not sure I'm gonna make it. The figure's still there. I can feel its eyes on me, even with my back to the window. The red light's pulsing, the hum's louder, and the air's so cold I can see my breath. I don't know what's happening, but I know one thing. That thing in Studio B isn't just standing there. It's waiting, and I'm terrified of what it's waiting for. It's pushing 7:30 a.m., and I'm still trapped in the KZRV studio. My first night on this godforsaken job, turning into a nightmare. That figure in Studio B, tall, shadowy, staring at me through the red light's glow, has me on the edge of losing it. My hands are shaking, my heart's pounding, and the air's so cold I can see my breath. The hum from that unplugged mic in Studio B is louder now, like a swarm of whispers I can't quite make out. The rule list is on the desk, and I've been clinging to it like it's the only thing keeping me alive. But I'm starting to crack, and I know it. I'm trying to keep the broadcast going, playing some Allman Brothers song, but I'm barely holding it together. The figure's still there. I can feel it without looking, its eyes boring into me through the glass, the red lights pulsing, the hums buzzing in my skull, and the station feels like it's alive, like it's feeding off my fear. I've been following the rules all night, ignoring the knocking at 3:33, keeping the red light on, playing track 7 when the static hit, not answering that creepy phone call. But it's too much. I'm exhausted, scared out of my mind, and I can't take it anymore. The song ends, and I fumble with the controls, my fingers clumsy. I'm supposed to read an ad, but my voice is shot. I lean into the mic, barely whispering. This is Jake, still here on KZRV 98.7 FM. Up next, some Credence. I hit play, my hands shaking so bad I nearly knock over the mixing board. The clock says 7:35 a.m. The sun should be up soon, but it's still pitch black outside, like the night's never gonna end. I glance at the rule list again, my eyes landing on that first one. Never acknowledge the knocking at 3:33 a.m. I followed that one, but the memory of that raspy voice saying my name through the door is still fresh, and it's eating at me. Then I hear it again. A knock, not from the back door this time, but from somewhere inside the station. It's slow, deliberate, bang, 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 coming from the hallway. My heart stops. It's not 3:33. It's way past that. The rule doesn't apply, right? But it sounds the same. That same heavy, intentional rhythm. I'm frozen, staring at the hallway, my breath coming in short gasps. The knocking comes again, louder, closer, like it's right outside the studio door. I grip the desk, my knuckles white, telling myself to stay calm, to follow the rules. But I'm so tired, so freaked out, I can't think straight. "Stop it," I yell, my voice cracking. "Just leave me alone." The words slip out before I can stop them, and the second they do, I know I've screwed up. The rule said never acknowledge the knocking, and I just did. The knocking stops instantly, and the silence is worse than anything. The air gets colder, heavier, like something's pressing down on me. The red light in Studio B flares up, so bright it hurts my eyes, and the hum turns into a low, guttural growl, like something's waking up. Then the lights go out. Not just a flicker this time. The whole studio goes dark, pitch black except for that red light in Studio B, glowing like a beacon. I'm breathing hard, my heart pounding so loud I can hear it over the growl. The music's still playing, but it's distorted, like it's underwater. The Credence song twisting into something wrong. I fumble for my phone, turning on the flashlight, but the beam's weak, barely cutting through the dark. The studio feels smaller, like the walls are closing in, and I swear I hear footsteps, slow, deliberate, coming from the hallway. I scramble under the desk, my knees hitting the floor hard, my phone's shaking in my hand, the light bouncing off the walls. I grab the rule list, clutching it like it's gonna save me, but it's useless now. I broke the rule. I acknowledged the knocking. That warning at the bottom of the list, breaking these rules invites it inside, is all I can think about. Is that what's out there? Is that what's coming? The footsteps get closer, heavy and slow, like someone's dragging their feet. They stop right outside the studio door. I hold my breath, my heart hammering, waiting for the door to open, but it doesn't. Instead, I hear a whisper, low and raspy, just like the voice from the back door. "Jake," it says, drawing out my name like it's tasting it. "You let me in." My blood turns to ice. I don't move, don't breathe, just curl up tighter under the desk, my phone's light shaking in my hand. The growl from Studio B gets louder, vibrating through the walls. The red light's so bright now it's bleeding through the glass, casting the whole studio in a red glow. I risk a glance at the window, and the figure's still there, but it's closer now, pressed against the glass. I can't see its face, just a tall, shadowy shape, but it's leaning in, like it's trying to get through. The glass creaks, like it's under pressure, and I bite my lip to keep from screaming. I don't know how long I stay under the desk. Minutes, maybe hours. The footsteps start again, circling the studio slow and steady. The whisper comes back, saying my name over and over. Jake, 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 like a chant. The music's gone now, just static hissing through the speakers, and I'm too scared to crawl out and fix it. The rule list is crumpled in my hand, and I'm kicking myself for yelling, for breaking the rule. Whatever's out there, it's here because of me. The clock's hard to see in the dark, but I think it's around 8 a.m. The sun should be up, but it's still black outside, like the station's stuck in some kind of void. The red light's the only thing keeping me from total darkness, but it's not comforting. It's like a signal, calling whatever's out there closer. The footsteps stop and the whispering fades, but I don't feel safe. I feel like I've crossed a line, like something's in here with me now, something I can't see. I stay under the desk, my phone's battery dying, the light flickering, the growl's still there, low and steady, and the figure's still at the window, watching. I don't know what to do. The rules didn't say what happens if you break one, but I'm finding out. Whatever's in this station, it's awake now, and it's not leaving. I just have to survive till my shift's over, but I'm not sure I can. It's got to be close to 8:30 a.m. now, but I'm still curled up under the desk in the KZRV studio. My first night on this hellish job, turning into something straight out of a nightmare. The lights are out, the air's freezing, and that red light in Studio B is the only thing keeping me from total darkness. It's glowing so bright it's like a fire, casting a bloody glow over everything. The figure's still there, pressed against the glass, its shadowy shape leaning in like it's trying to push through. The hum from the unplugged mic in there is a full-on growl now, vibrating in my bones, and I'm shaking so bad my teeth are chattering. I broke the rule, yelled at the knocking, and now something's in here with me. I can feel it, like a weight on my chest, watching, waiting. The rule list is crumpled in my hand, useless now. That warning at the bottom, breaking these rules invites it inside, is all I can think about. I let something in, and it's not leaving. The static's still hissing through the speakers, the music long gone, and I'm too scared to crawl out and fix it. My phone's flashlight is flickering, the battery almost dead, and the clock's hard to read in the dark, but I know my shift's almost over. I just have to make it to 9 a.m. when the day shift guy shows up, if he shows up. The sky outside is still pitch black, like the sun's never coming up, and I'm starting to think this station's trapped in some kind of endless night. I take a deep breath, my heart pounding, and decide I can't stay under the desk forever. I've got to finish the shift, get the broadcast back on, and get out of here. I'm done with this job. Screw the $25 an hour. I'm not coming back. But I've got to make it through these last minutes without pissing off whatever's in here. I crawl out, my knees aching, and fumble for the mixing board. The static's so loud it's like needles in my ears, but I find the controls and cue up a song, some random track from the playlist. I don't even care what. The music kicks in, a shaky Merle Haggard tune, and I lean into the mic, my voice barely a whisper. This is Jake, still here on KZRV 98.7 FM. Let's keep the music going. I sound like I'm already dead, but it's something. Then it happens. All hell breaks loose. The knocking starts again, not just from the hallway, but everywhere, banging on the walls, the ceiling, the windows. It's not rhythmic anymore. It's chaotic, like a dozen fists pounding at once. The static cuts back in, louder, and the music twists, warping into that same droning choir from track 7. I didn't even touch the cassette, but it's playing, coming through the speakers like it's alive. The red light in Studio B flares up, so bright it's blinding, and the figure's not just at the glass now. It's moving, sliding along the window, its shadow stretching across the studio. I stumble back, tripping over the chair, and hit the floor hard. My phone's flashlight dies, leaving me in the red glow. The hum's a scream now, words I can't understand but feel in my gut, like they're pulling at me. I hear my name again, whispered from everywhere, behind me, above me, inside my head. Jake, it says, slow and hungry. You let me in. I crawl to the desk, grabbing the rule list, but it's no help. I broke the rules, and now it's here. I've got to do something. I can't just sit here and let this thing, whatever it is, get me. I remember the cassette, that black heavy thing that started all this. Maybe if I play it again, it'll stop, like it did with the static, or maybe it'll make it worse. But I'm out of options. I lunge for the tape deck, my hands shaking, and jam the cassette in. The droning choir blasts through the speakers, louder than before, and the knocking gets wilder, like the whole station's shaking. The figure in Studio B slams against the glass, the sound like a gunshot, and I scream, dropping to my knees. I grab the mic, my voice cracking. This is Jake signing off on KZRV 98.7 FM. If you're listening, don't take this job, follow the rules, don't let it in. I'm babbling, half crying, but I need to warn the next guy. The glass in Studio B cracks, a loud snap, and the figure's shadow looms over me, even through the wall. The red light's pulsing like a heart, the growls deafening, and I know I'm out of time. I barricade the studio door with the chair, shoving it under the handle, and crawl back under the desk, clutching the rule list like it's gonna save me. The knocking's everywhere, the static's screaming, and that voice keeps saying my name over and over. I close my eyes, praying for the sun, for the day shift, for anything to end this. The clock's gotta be close to 9 a.m., but I can't see it in the dark. The red light's the only thing left, and it's not comforting. It's like a signal, calling that thing closer. The broadcast cuts to static again, and I hear footsteps, slow and heavy, right outside the door. The chair creaks, like something's pushing against it. The voice whispers my name one last time, so close I feel it on my neck. Then, nothing. Just static, hissing through the speakers, and silence from the station. I don't move, don't breathe, just wait, curled up under the desk, the rule list crushed in my hand. I don't know if I make it to 9 a.m. I don't know if the day shift guy shows up, or if the sun ever rises. All I know is the static keeps going, and the red light's still glowing, and whatever I let in, it's still here.